Let's stop blabbing and start introducing our speakers. So today we have two phenomenal human beings who, as I say, are already bringing the fun in the backstage. So I think we'll get there as well in this session. We have Tim over at Hrefs and Chima from Moz. Both are sterling human beings and people who I asked to come along because genuinely are two of the people who I enjoy following the most, particularly on LinkedIn. The reason I say that is because today's topic of conversation is all about SEO. And my perception is, and you know, this is an opinion expressed more than anything else, is that the SEO industry is feeling the stuff that is going on with AI, particularly right now. And so learning the lessons from the SEO industry, as well as the direct lessons from how to do SEO really well, are going to be really, really interesting, not only for today's conversation, but also for where the industry takes us in these next few years. So I think today to have Tim and Chima sort of contributing in today's session will be absolutely fabulous. Before we get started, I want to say a big thank you to Frontify. Frontify are our featured sponsor this week. They are a fabulous brand who have been so supportive of the marketing meetup over the past few years. Frontify are running a webinar all about Sonic branding on the 8th of July. You can see the QR code on your screen right there. If you'd like to know more about Sonic branding, then head into that webinar. Also, a big thank you to our other sponsors. So we have Cambridge Marketing College, we have Planable, we have Known, and indeed we have Frontify. Without these folks, we wouldn't be able to bring these sessions to you. So a big thank you to them. And now adorning your screens, you can see the lovely human beings that are Chima and Tim. So honestly, thank you so much for being here. I think we're going to have a lot of fun over the rest of this session. So I don't know, Chima, maybe if we start with you first, I wondered if you'd be able to give a quick introduction, because I spoke about how brilliant you are, but I didn't necessarily introduce your career stuff.
I always struggle to introduce myself because I'm like, what the hell do I say, you know? Well, yeah, my name is Chima. I'm the senior content marketing manager at Moz, and I oversee our content strategy with a goal to increase conversion, traffic, and product adoption. But I'm also the founder of the Freelance Coalition for Developing Countries, and it's a non-profit that I founded to help BIPOC marketers break into the industry, and we provide free training, support, and community. And I think that settles it.
You nailed it. For someone who said they don't know how to introduce themselves, I think you did a fabulous job. So well done and thank you. Tim, if you could do the same.
Joe, thanks for having me. I'm actually like Chima. I'm not good at introducing myself despite years and years of being on different webinars and podcast interviews. And I can give kind of myself and the audience tip, like a hack right off the bat. I was reading this book. I think it's called Better Small Talk. And they are addressing this very problem. So when you meet new people and they ask like, so what do? You typically, I'm a CMO at a company called Hrefs. We do software for SEO, blah, blah, blah. And people are like, okay. So the advice is kind of think about it beforehand. So take, 10 minutes out of your day and think like, how can you introduce yourself in an engaging way, especially to strangers. And now that we have ChatGPT, what I have on my to-do list is I'm going to ask ChatGPT. I would like list some of the things about me, and they say, can you help me like create an introduction that I can use to people in an engaging way? But yeah, about the introduction, I'm CMO at Hrefs, joined the company 10 years ago, has been with the company for 10 years. Yeah, joined as a CMO, still a CMO, zero career progress there, but yeah.
That is actually the best intro I've ever heard, ever. Joined as a CMO, still a CMO, zero career progress.
Well, that's a joke I've used a couple times already. I know it works, so yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Lucian in the chat says, I think that was a good intro in itself, Tim. So absolutely. And like, love it. And we've got Olivia already saying these two are hilarious. So you're bringing the
Thank you, Olivia.
So let's...
Joe, so sorry to interrupt you. I wonder if we can do a little trick and ask the people here in the chat if it is possible, I don't know if it's technically possible, if they can share the link to the webinar to some other friends who should be watching, because I think AI and SEO and how the industry is changing is a very important topic. So maybe they have someone who needs to see it. And if they can click a link, and we would see, so right now we have like 400 participants. I wonder if people would bump, if people would send a link to someone who's interested, how many more attendees we can have.
Mate,
Could be interesting.
I didn't even pay you to do that, so thank you. We got
Oh,
Sarah.
someone has shared it already now.
Nice, amazing. I
Thank
love
you, Sarah.
that.
Awesome.
I love that. So let's head in, because like the vibes are immaculate, but we want to make sure that everyone watching in also gets a ton of value from this session. So Tim, I'm going to start with you asking on the hot topics of conversation amongst SEOs right now, and what's sort of changed over the past 12 months as well. Yeah, like we'll start in this sort of traditional SEO place, but also, you know, sort of we can definitely head into the AI stuff as well.
Yeah, the topics are not surprising. Is SEO going to die? Am I going to lose my job? How do I do my work with AI, with all those AI tools? So yeah, I guess AI is disrupting our industry, both in terms of the tools and processes that we use as marketers, especially like in creating content, right? A lot of us are content creators in one form or shape or another. And now AI can generate this content with a click of a button. So like, what do you do? How do you navigate that? And then those AI chatbots, a lot of people are saying that ChatGPT is taking market share away from Google. There is no research evidence to that, as studied by someone called Brent Fishkin. And again, there's another thread that Google itself is displaying more and more kind of AI overviews, AI answers, as well as they're introducing now this new AI search. So people are afraid that they're not going to get any traffic to their websites. So yeah, I addressed the concerns, but I'm not going to answer them right off the bat.
Nice, love it. Well, we'll keep folks watching in. Chima, I saw you nodding along there, so
Yeah,
you know a lot of agreement. Was
yeah.
there anything additional that sort of came to mind after the
So
past
if we
12
look
months?
at the trends in the last 1 year,
Hmm.
I think we need to go back and say that it started with the Google leaks. And that was where I feel like that was where the catalyst of all of this started from. And that was when we found out that Google has not been entirely honest about how they rank content. And I would say that was the first time, the very first time that as an industry, we agreed nobody trusts Google anymore. And every time they release something, we are now triple checking that is this true or not. And then this was in June. By September, Tom Kappa published that research that showed that the HCU was not really about helpful content. It was really about brand. And now everybody was like, I said it, I said it, I said it. This has always been about brand. Next thing we're seeing, small publishers are getting pummeled, absolutely battered in the SERPs. And the big brands like Forbes and all of the parasite SEO are dominating all the search queries, including cockroach and everything, whether it's important to them or not. And I think the biggest thing we learned in the last year was that brand is the key to everything. Now, this is where we are. SEP clicks are declining. And because SEP clicks are declining from AI overviews, people are trying to diversify their traffic. But they are doing a piss poor job of it because they are still trying to create content for Google. And the reason they are still trying to create content for Google is because they've been indoctrinated into optimizing for the SEPs. And people can't see beyond the SEPs. So the biggest problem that people are having right now is they are talking about how do we increase our appearance in AI overviews. And I'm like, why are you trying to increase your appearance in AI overviews if Google is not sending traffic to your website and they're just going to show all of those answers right there on the steps? Do you see? That is part of the problem. So all of the things we're asking right now around the trends, should we stop doing SEO? Should we stop using SEO tools? Is SEO dead? If you really look at it at the root, it boils down to the fact that we are still looking for checklists. We are still looking for ways to optimize for Google. We are still trying to do the old things that no longer work. And therein, That is the underlying problem. That is where we are right now.
That is wild. What an answer, Chima. Thank you so much. And that, it feels like a bit of a wake-up call. And I don't know whether that has been a collective thing that you've had as an industry. I definitely come from this from an outside perspective, when I'm thinking about the SEO industry, but it feels like collectively the SEO industry is slowly waking up to this. And that could be wrong, by the way. I don't know whether that's true. That's just my perception. But yeah, there's a lot of folks here in the chat. So we've got Shannon saying, I feel very called out. We've got Helen saying, damn Chima, love that. We've got Louise saying, all hail Chima. That was fantastic. So I love that. So thank you very, very much. I mean, Tim, I'll come to you again because it's what we've listed there is a bunch of ongoing things, and it feels like this time isn't unique in the sense that change is inevitable. Change always happens. But that being said, I think what is unique is that the amount of change is happening all at once. There's lots and lots and lots of factors that are all changing at once. So it can be hard for folks to know what is hype and what is true. So I think Chima's called it out really well there when she's speaking about brand and brand always being the key to it. But what are you paying attention to at the moment, and what are you not prioritizing amongst the sort of noise around SEO?
Uh, I'm probably very conservative, and I'm also probably biased because I represent a tool which is like an SEO tool at its core, even though we diversified in some different aspects of digital marketing.
Mm-hmm.
But still, when I look at my almost 15-year journey in SEO, the stuff that I was doing, the marketing that I was doing, didn't change one bit with all those different Google algorithm updates, with all the changes that they were introducing. I don't know, they were stealing traffic from us a long time. They were optimizing ads to be not recognizable from the search results so that they would pull more clicks. They introduced featured snippets, knowledge panels, some built-in tools like, I don't know, flights, hotels, blah, 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 blah. So they were stealing traffic from us for as long as they can remember. It's just AI overviews and the AI mode is a lot more effective in doing that than all their previous attempts.
Mm.
But then again, they need clicks too. They need people to click on the search results. They cannot just abandon it. So they still need a balance between making people click, whether on ads or in search results, and giving people instant answers. But again, back to the basics. Like I said, the marketing, the basics of marketing that I was doing, they never changed. The three basic things: know what people are searching for, because you cannot get search traffic if you don't know if people search for this or not. So you have to have an idea, even without using those keyword research tools. Just have an idea. Is this a popular topic? Is this something people are interested in? Would they search for it? Second, create great content about it. And when I say great content, it's not necessarily longer content or content that contains everything that all other content contains on the topic. No, it's something new, something better, something more compelling, or like what makes you even an expert to talk about those things. And third, make other people or websites vouch for you. So yeah, you can think whatever you want about your content. You might think that it's the best in the world, but do other people think like that? And this is the concept of PageRank. This is the concept of links. Are other websites linking to you, thus proving that you're authority? Those three things didn't change. So right now, those three things: know what people search for, create content that addresses what they search for better than anything else, and make other people vouch for your content or your authority or your website or your business or your brand. Still, they have to vouch for you as like a good source of information. Those three things, 15 years ago they worked, today they work. I think 5 years from now they would still work.
Amazing. And I guess, Chima, is that the essence of what you were speaking about with brand when it came to that, when you were saying at the center of all of this remains brand? I mean, it's as we've got Freya in the chat here just saying amen. We've got Astrid saying quite right, Tim, the basics remain. I mean, in a sense, is this us going back to what good marketing has always been?
So I'll answer this question in two ways. Sorry, I'll say two things. The first part, I'll just touch on what Tim said, and I absolutely agree with him. Because 2 years ago, I was at Brighton SEO, and I just done a study where I analyzed 400 SERP results, and what I was seeing was that everything Google is doing is geared towards keeping people on the SERPs, not sending traffic to websites. And that was when I started saying we need to start thinking about diversifying. We need to start thinking about bringing more direct traffic to our channels. So, absolutely agree with what Tim said there. And to the second part, the trends that I'm paying attention to. I'll tell you instead the trends that I'm not paying attention to. And that is all of this obsession with getting AI citations. Because it is, in a way, it's like a short-term effort. People are trying to game the system. They're trying to increase their mentions in ChatGPT and all those things. But if you keep changing your strategies with every new trend, you're never going to build anything worthy. You're never going to build anything that is sustainable. So there was something last year, there was something the year before. But if you have a great SEO or content strategy, it is going to beat every algorithm change that happens. And I have been saying this, and it just pleased my heart to hear Tim saying the same thing. You know what I'm obsessing over right now, what I'm paying attention to right now, is how can I diversify my traffic sources outside of organic. This is what I've been trying to do from the day one when I joined Moz. And the second thing is figuring out which content format gets the most shares so that I can keep doing more of that. Because if people are sharing that content, it means that they are finding it credible. And Google and all of these LLMs are reading that as authority signals, as relevant signals. The third thing is brand. I have been obsessed with brand from day one. And it is three ways: brand awareness, brand affinity, and addictive content. Brand affinity for me is the most important one, because affinity means that you want to create content that people will come to your website every day to see if you've published something new. For me, that is the ultimate goal. That is the thing that I want to get to. That is the thing we should all be obsessed with right now. Everything else for me is not important. How do we create content that makes people come to our website to see if we've published something new? That is going to bypass all of the issues with declining clicks. That is going to bypass all of the issues with lower traffic, because you're still going to be getting people coming to you directly versus going to look for you on other channels. And the only way to do that kind of content is high quality content. AI can make that kind of stuff. It's going to be high quality content. It's going to be research. It's going to be opinion style content. It's going to be the kind of stuff that AI cannot replicate. It's going to be the kind of content that is written by thought leaders for your brand. And that is the thing that makes people to trust you. So while it still comes back to brand, affinity. Affinity is the center of it. Affinity is what we need to become obsessed with right now. Everything is, fuck that. I want affinity.
Incredible. You got such a brilliant way of putting it. The reactions are coming through from everyone. You're an absolute legend. Thank you so much. Um, with with that, I want to ask a follow-up question, because I guess there is probably a mindset shift that goes on. And Chima, I'll put this to you, and I don't know whether this rings true. This is a genuine question rather than a comment. Do we need to start thinking about our websites before, which was like an awareness channel? So the organic search was like sending people, they were becoming aware of our websites and stuff like that before. It feels like the essence of what you're saying about the diversification of content is that folks will land on our website when they're probably aware of us. They're already sort of familiar with us, and they'll be landing one way or another. So rather than an awareness tool, are we starting to enter an area where our website will be further on down the funnel, and so that it will be more of a consideration purchase tool, for want of a better model for speaking about these things?
So it's not that. If you think about it this way, with what Google is trying to do, the SERPs are about to become the destination. It used to be that the SERPs was where you go to discover, and then we would get the traffic for that discovery. So SEO in a way was the biggest growth lever for getting discovered. What we are seeing as our website right now is that we need to provide a similar experience to what Google is trying to do. So what we need to be thinking of is, how do we make our website the destination? Whether it's awareness, whether it's consideration, whether it's decision making. So remove the steps from this equation right now. That's the way to think about it. Remove the steps from this equation. How do we become the destination? How do we bypass Google for discovery? So that if people don't find you through Google, how do they find you directly? And that is where that affinity comes into play. It's going to be great content, because the thing with great content is that it will be seen. When Ryan published, was it Ryan or Louis Linehan that published that AI overview research on Ahrefs, everybody saw it. We talked about it in our Slack. I used it to show some of our decision makers that, here, this is the evidence, everybody is going to see good content. And the thing with that kind of good content is that you see it today, you see something else from that same brand tomorrow, you see something else from that same brand next tomorrow. The next thing you're doing, you're going to that website directly. So that is what I mean. It's not about whether we are going to be discovery or whether we are going to be middle of the funnel or bottom of the funnel. Is how do we provide all of that experience that we've been getting from Google before? Does that make sense?
It does. It really, really does. And I love the example you gave there, because Tim, I guess you would have seen this from the other side, because so this was, if I'm right, Chima, this was the post around decline traffic on HubSpot, was it? The
No, no, no,
post
no,
that you're
no,
No, I
referring
no,
to?
think
no,
it's
no.
AI overviews reduce clicks by 34%.
Okay,
Yes, yes,
but
that one.
it
Yes,
caused a conversation in the industry, right? And that wasn't
yes,
necessarily on site.
exactly. So that's what
So
I'm
that,
saying, is that that kind of content, everybody will see it. It will
hmm
come to you. People are
hmm
going to talk about it. They're going to share it. You will see it on your feed.
amazing. I love it. Well, honestly, we got Catherine here in the chat saying Chima is my new favorite person. So, but we got a lot of agreement to both of your points here. I mean, so Ian says your brand is your competitive advantage. Use it in every way you can, which speaks to the spirit of both your answers. We've got Matt saying I can't write fast enough. So much great advice here. What I don't want to do in this conversation is throw the baby out with the bathwater, however, because we advertised this event on SEO in 2025. And I think what we've spoken about already is so important. I think it's probably more important than any tactic that we can give folks. Nonetheless, I think it's important to, if we draw the conversation back into the place, and it may be the same answer, just restated in a different way. But where are the opportunities for quote unquote traditional SEO at the moment? Tim, like, is there still growth to be had in traditional SEO, or, is this just a different game that we're playing now?
And these are such big questions that we could dedicate an entire hour to just discussing one question and unpacking it. But I'm sorry to hijack the flow of the webinar a little bit, but it's not often that I'm on a live call with like 440 people. So I want to talk to the audience a little bit, and I want to ask them who has actually SEO in their title. So who is actually SEO versus, I don't know, content marketer, social media marketer, or just generally marketing manager. I wonder how many SEOs we have who call themselves SEO. No, we have Jill. No,
What do you reckon?
no, no. I love it. I love it. No, most people are not SEOs. This is something I was saying for a while, that SEO is not necessarily a role in your company. It's a skill set that any digital marketer essentially has to have. Any digital marketer has to understand how SEO works. And SEO is not rocket science. You can learn like 80% of it in about a month. You'll figure out the basics. So yeah, it's very cool that so many people are on this call, which is kind of about SEO, but still people don't have the SEO role, but still interested in this topic. This is very cool. So in terms of opportunities and all that, definitely we'll be getting less search traffic to our website. That's definitely. But we'll be still getting visibility. because when Google or ChatGPT needs to answer a question and there's an opportunity to mention certain tool, a certain brand, a certain product, it typically will mention it. And then it would be up to people to go and do a further search, like, oh, what is Ahrefs? What is Moz? What is this tool? What is that tool? How does it work? We did a research at Ahrefs, and Rand Fishkin did another research himself using clickstream data. We used our kind of search data. Rand Fishkin used clickstream data, but we arrived at the same conclusion. Almost half of all the searches that people make on Google are branded. So they're mentioning brand in one way or another. And brand is not just like Ahrefs or Moz or marketing Meetup. It's like the name of the movie is a brand. So they might search for like, when is this movie coming out? And it's essentially a branded search. So half of the searches are branded. And this brings me to another kind of idea that I'm borrowing from Rand Fishkin. He's saying he's promoting the idea that Google doesn't necessarily create demand, but it also serves demand. So all those branded searches, why are people making those branded searches? Because they've heard about this brand somewhere else. Something else has created the demand. But there are still searches that are pure demand. When you know you have some problem and you go and you do unbranded search looking for a solution. I don't know, my carpet smells. What do I do about it? How do I clean it? You don't necessarily need to see an ad for something to go and do the search. So demand is created right on Google, but a lot of the demand is created outside of Google. So yeah, SEO is still a big opportunity. Even though the search traffic is going down, brands and products are going to be mentioned by chatbots, they are going to be mentioned by Google. And then again, what do you do to make your brand mentioned by those chatbots, by LLMs? The same things, the same things. You create great content because LLMs are trained on content, and you make other people talk about you because you can create as much content as you want on your website. But why should LLM trust your own opinion about yourself? It wants to see other people talking about you. So the more people are talking about you, and this is also like brand. Do you have a brand that people talk about? Do you have a brand that people recommend? So fundamentally, it's all the same. In terms of numbers in your Google Search Console, in terms of numbers in your website analytics software, yes, there would be less visits to your website. But there's still a lot of opportunity because people will not stop searching.
I love that. And like, so, I mean, first and foremost, it's really, I think it's probably reassuring for a lot of folks watching in today. I mean, thank you for asking the question at the beginning there, Tim, because a lot of folks aren't immersed in SEO every day. Watching in today, there will be general marketing managers. And so to get a moment of reassurance to sort of know that if search traffic is down, it's not them, is actually a really big deal. And so like, thank you for doing that. But then secondly, to also just sort of point back to the fundamentals is funny. Yeah, it was a very specific example with the smelly carpet, but I love that. Chima, so much of your role is dedicated to creating this quote unquote great content. And I wanna unpick this a little bit because I'd like folks to be able to walk away from today's webinar and go, I've got a really strong idea of the type of things which, what people really mean when they say great content. So what have you, or where are you putting your thoughts right now? Because like,
Yeah.
great content can mean so much to so many different people.
Yeah. So I'll first of all answer that original question: is traditional SEO still worth it? And the answer is yes. But in silo, that is by itself, it's losing value fast. So the way I see SEO right now is like it's a foundation, but it's no longer the core of the strategy anymore. You still need tech SEO so that LLMs can go and crawl your website and they can understand your content. You still need on page because it influences relevance in the eyes of search engines. But for me as a content person, the opportunity lies number one, product-led content. Because product-led content is both informational and it's also tied to revenue. But what I've recently learned is that when I create product-led content, I need to provide people with the resources to implement what they've learned. So that means adding template assets into that content. And those templates or assets allow us to collect emails and nurture them in a longer buying cycle. Because as discoverability becomes harder through organic channels, the buying cycle is going to become longer now. So we have to be patient, and we can collect more of those emails coming into our content on those product-led channels with those assets. Now, the other opportunities for me, and I think nobody's talking about this enough, is that the basics still work. On enterprise websites like ours, we still have a lot of cannibalization issues. I'm literally working on a project right now to fix those. You still have to do all of those stuff, fix your cannibalization issues. I'm seeing a lot of opportunities with refreshing outdated content tied to product features to drive adoption. So if you look back at your current content stack, which of your content pieces is underperforming that is tied to product revenue that you can refresh and then plug in new product features that you already have, and then add in assets that I don't want to say force, but encourage people to use your tool in order to implement what they are learning. So I'll give you an example. Last month, I published a guide on our website on topic clustering. And for the first time ever in my life, I wrote content without looking at the steps. I've never done that before. And when I wrote that content, I asked myself this question: if I was just learning about topic clustering, what would I need to be able to implement this? So I provided a keyword research checklist. I provided a template for clustering. I provided a Google Colab script for pulling data in bulk. I provided a PDF that shows you how to write pillar pages and how to write the cluster pages. And one of the key assets that we provided, which was the Google Colab script, requires you to use the Moz API in order to implement it.
Nice.
If you want to use the topic clustering template, you have to have pulled your data from Moz. So if not, the template is not going to work. So it's tying all of these free features that we're giving you back to product adoption so that you are using our product when you're implementing what you are learning, but also making sure that the content is actionable enough that anybody can implement what they've learned on their own. So for me, this is where those opportunities lies. And again, if you've heard what I'm saying so far, none of it has to do with AI and everything to do with providing useful content that is helpful, advice that people can action on, and resources that help them to implement that advice.
Love that. Thank you so much. And like what I really appreciate about that answer as well is that as part of content marketing, sometimes the temptation is to say, hey, look, we got traffic, but actually that's not tied back to revenue. And so there's a business sense to this stuff, as well as doing the sort of the brand piece, which is so important. So thank you. Tim,
Joe, can I add a bit?
yeah. I've seen you post on LinkedIn about this, so I'm interested here.
Yeah, so your original question was about quality content, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, outside of marketing, this is a very important thing for your kind of marketing department, because people want to get promotions, people want to know if they're doing well or not. So a couple years ago, I created this kind of framework. It's called 5 levels of content. But I tried searching for it, and there's a lesson in itself, because I know that we published article about it, but when I search 5 levels of content, I see some other article. But that's because we optimized our article for how to create quality content. So again, I'll ask the people listening to us, can you search in Google for how to create quality content and tell me if Ahrefs article is #1 or not? There's an ad I see, but in terms of organic results, our article is #1 for me, but maybe it's because I know I'm searching from Singapore, I search or I click a lot, oh, it's #1. So we still managed to optimize it for how to create quality content, and it works. Not on my side, it's Yoast for me. Yoast is #1. Yeah, you see. So we tried to optimize kind of for a popular keyword, how to create quality content, and it seems that we didn't get the #1 spot. But I'm sure that if we went for 5 levels of content, we could have nailed this. And this is the difference between serving the existing demand and creating demand yourself. Because I can go further and popularize the framework 5 levels of content. But yeah, I won't go too deep into this. People can find the article. They can search for 5 levels of content Ahrefs, and this would be a branded search again. And they can see I created like a few levels of how to understand what's the kind of how hard is to create this content. And this is a good framework for our content writers because they understand at which level they are with the content that they create. And I agree with Chima about the business value for sure. Product-led content. Someone in the chat was asking what that is. Again, at Ahrefs, we created our internal metric. It's called business potential. So I think if you search for business potential score, business potential score, no, we're not showing up. So you have to add Ahrefs. But I'm sure that if you go to images, yeah, you'll probably find a bunch of images from Ahrefs blog. So yeah, it's a simple score from 0 to 3, where we try to estimate when we're writing this article, how likely it is that the person is going to buy our product from reading it. So for example, how to see the backlinks of your competitors. This is business potential 3 for us, because there's no way to see backlinks of your competitors unless you have an access to the tool like Ahrefs. But something like best SEO tips, that's business potential between 1 and 2, because there are a lot of SEO tips where you don't need Ahrefs. So the likelihood of a person signing up by reading an article with SEO tips is not as high if their problem is how to see the backlinks of my competitors. So yeah, basically search for 5 levels of content Ahrefs and search for business potential score Ahrefs, and you'll get 2 pretty straightforward frameworks that you can use in your content marketing. We're using them ourselves, so it's not some kind of theory for the sake of theory. This is actual actionable stuff that we apply in our own content marketing department. And I should say that our content is fairly successful, so perhaps those things are working.
I love that, and thank you for speaking through that, because those 3 levels sound absolutely fascinating. I'd love to maybe you could go into a little bit more depth on that in a moment, Tim, because the main question before we get to the community questions, I can see that there's 16 open questions from the community, so we want to make sure we get to those as well, is about measurement. Because Chima, I've seen that you've posted recently about us needing a whole new way of reporting success from SEO and stuff like that. So as we're entering this new era, but beyond traditional rankings and traffic, what KPIs might SEOs be tracking sort of in this sort of new era of SEO? Is that becoming clear, or is it branded search? Is it, I don't even know. And Tim, you may want to, if I direct the question to you first about this, how do you start judging the success of SEO in its silo when the metrics that we've used for the last sort of 10, 15 years don't seem to be as relevant anymore?
1 second, I'm giving people links to the things I mentioned. How to measure the success of the SEO? So I'm the wrong person to ask this question, because historically, in terms of marketing attribution, in terms of measuring the ROI that your marketing efforts are bringing you, we haven't been doing that at Ahrefs. So we operated from first principles. And this is something I just recently shared on my LinkedIn. The mantra that replaces our marketing attribution software, and the mantra is get attention and talk about your product. This is basically what we just discussed, what Chima was saying. It's not enough to just create content, you have to talk about your product. It's not enough to just get attention. You can get attention easily. Post some memes, post some cats, people will like, comment, share, blah, blah, blah. But are you talking about your product? Are you introducing people to like how your product is helping them? No. You can also talk about your product all day, but no one would be listening because it's not interesting when someone is showing your product. So you have to find the balance between getting people's attention with something interesting, like this webinar, for example. Joy, you helped us, me and Chima got the attention of people. They're here, we have their attention. And we're squeezing kind of little by little, kind of a mention here, a mention there, because if I start talking just about my product, people will start leaving the webinar. So, what was the question again?
Well, no, it's about judging success, but I think
Judging
first.
success. So yeah, in terms of marketing attribution, for us it's easy. Get attention and talk about your product. That's all that matters.
Love
But
it.
we look at the performance metrics. So we published an article. Does it rank in Google? For example, just now I saw that for how to create quality content, for some people we rank number one, for other people we're still top three, which is good. So we look at those things. I publish a post on LinkedIn. Did it resonate with people? Did a lot of people see it? We publish a YouTube video. So performance of each piece of content. Did we get the attention? Because then with the business potential score, we know if this attention is converting to customers or not. As easy as that. And with the new LLM era, so again, like I said, AI reviews, ChatGPT, they keep mentioning brands and products, and it seems that everyone and their mom right now are building LLM visibility trackers. So there's no shortage of these on the market where you can put a brand, you can like put a bunch of keywords that you want to track, and it would be asking LLMs like, I don't know, once a week or once a month those questions and see if your brand is being mentioned. So again, this can help you understand if the content that you're creating and if the content your partners are creating, because like I said, it's important that other people would be talking about you. It converts to LLMs and AI mentioning your product in the context where you want to be mentioned.
Love it. And thank you so much, Tim. And Chima, as I said, I've seen you post about this recently, so I'd love to bring you in on this as well. And you sit in a slightly different role to Tim, so I'd
Yeah.
love to know how you navigate this within your context as well.
Yeah. I just first of all, I'm noticing that almost everybody here lives in the UK. It's
So
very interesting.
certainly the majority of folks, yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna plug something real quick. I run a marketing meetup, but not like Joe. It's more like an in-person meetup for people in London. So if anybody here lives in London, we're having our first meetup next Tuesday evening. I'll drop the link, and if you want to sign up, come through, or you can just subscribe to attend future marketing meetups. Okay, so back to the question that you were asking. Yes, what am I measuring? I'll be honest and I'll level with you here and say that the most important thing that I'm really really like trying to focus on right now is referral traffic. That's like my number one. And that's because referral traffic is a English. It's an indicator. It's an indicator of what resonates with people. So if I'm looking at the sources and I'm like, oh, a lot of this traffic is coming from social media, or it's coming from this source, or it's coming from this source, then that tells me that the content that we're creating is being shared and is resonating with this audience and this audience and this audience. So, and it's also a good way for me to see how much of our non-organic traffic of that growth is happening, because I'm really really trying to increase our non-organic versus organic from Google. um the other thing, like I said before, is shareability. And that boils down to what Tim was saying, is if you create this content, it's not enough. How much are you promoting it so that people see it and they share it with their own audience, and those people also share it with their own audience, and then people are taking it into their Slack to talk about it, how much of that content is being shared and cited and linked on social media, not just how it ranks, because we're seeing more and more that, in fact, I gave an example in an article, the one I just shared, that we rank for a keyword that has 165K monthly volume. And when I look in the traffic has dropped 50%, even though we are still number one for the keyword. So ranking top of Google doesn't really guarantee traffic anymore. So instead, I'm looking now also at where is it being shared, where is it being cited, how many people are sharing it on social media and talking about it also. But I also care about brand mentions, but not just any brand mentions, because I'm revenue led. The brand mentions I care about is how are people talking about us in relation to our products. How are people, what's the sentiment about our product, what's the sentiment about our futures, what's the sentiment about our brand generally. But more than anything else, what I want to hear is what questions are people asking, or what are they saying as it relates to our product, because that is going to feed back into sentiment and how all of these LLMs and search engines perceive our brand. But yes, marketing attribution is becoming a pain in the ass. In fact, I think we're going to have two talks at Moscon that are focused on this. One by Lucati, he's sharing a new attribution model, and one by Helen Pollitt, she's sharing a content model that forecasts the revenue potential of the content. So I'm really, really obsessed with attribution, but not from the how much traffic, how much impressions, how much this. No, it's more of what is resonating with people, how do we convert what is coming through, and how do we keep doing more of that.
Nice. I love that. Well, thank you
Can I
so much.
quickly share the biggest mistake in content promotion that people are making?
Of course.
So the biggest mistake in content promotion is that people are promoting content, while the thing that they should be promoting is ideas, news, solutions. And I'll explain what it means. If you promote content, you write an article on your blog and you post a link to this article on LinkedIn, and you expect people to click this on LinkedIn. That's the wrong thing to do. People on LinkedIn don't want to click, and LinkedIn don't want people to click articles. So what you have to do, you have to take the most salient idea, the most disrupting, the best idea, the best piece of advice from your article, and share it natively on LinkedIn, like in a smaller LinkedIn format. So you're not promoting content, you're not getting clicks to your website, you're not getting traffic to your website. You're promoting an idea, and the idea has to be promoted natively. So when you post about it on Reddit, you don't post a link on Reddit or to your article on Reddit. When you promote the idea on YouTube, you don't post a link to your article on YouTube. You're promoting the idea. So that's the biggest mistake. But people are typically lazy. They publish an article, and they think if they post a link to an article on Reddit, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, blah, 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 they will get traffic. You don't need traffic. You need attention. You need people to listen to your ideas and remember you. So don't promote content, promote ideas.
Agreed. I have to agree with him on that. If every time I've taken the time to write about one thing from an article, like the biggest issue, the big pain point, and then I platform that pain point in the LinkedIn post and I share that. Sometimes I even forget to even drop the link in the comment section, and people will start asking, "Where's the link? Where's the link? Where's the link?" That is the attention, that is the demand, and then it becomes useful. That link now becomes useful, and it doesn't feel spammy. So I have to agree with him, and that's a big mistake many people make. They just want to drop a link and go away, rather than trying to get people to care about the problem. That's the underlying factor. How do you get people to care about the problem and the pain point so that they want to see the solution, which is your content? So great here on that, team.
Love it. Well, that's, like there've already been so many social media snippets from today, but I think that's definitely one of them. So thank you very much. So good. Usually by this point in the webinar, we would have definitely have delved into the community questions a lot sooner, but there's been so much here. So thank you both for being so fabulous and providing so much great information. We've now got 20 open questions and 8 minutes to cover off a bunch of stuff from the community. So I'd love to make this a bit of a quick fire round between the two of you, if that sounds good. And so the first question comes from Jess, who asks, would you still approach a keyword strategy for a website in the same way as you have done for the past period of time? Chima, you're first on my screen,
Sorry,
so I'm just going to go to you.
repeat the question again.
Would you still approach a keyword strategy for a website in the same way as you've been doing for the past 5 years?
If the past 5 years being revenue focused first, education led, yes. If the
Nice.
past 5 years is just going after keywords because it has volume and because you want to build modes and use programmatic SEO to game SEO to game Google, then no. I think keyword volume is an indicator of demand. That's always what it has been. But demand for whom? That's the thing we've always ignored. Demand for whom? So if you're choosing the keywords, it's important to make sure that these are keywords that are tied back to your product, to your services, to what you do in one way or the other, versus just going after keywords just because they have high demand, which is part of what has led us here as an industry.
Love that. Tim,
I think
same
it's
thoughts?
90% the same. Like I said, the basics stay the same. It's 90% the same because if a lot of people search for the keyword, okay, it shows AI overview and you get less traffic, but you can show up in AI overview and you won't show up there unless you create content about this keyword and plug kind of your brand there. So yeah, definitely you want to be aware of that. And at HRs, for example, we have a filter. Does this keyword show AI overview in the search results? And it's good to kind of be aware of that. But it's not necessarily that you want to avoid these keywords, because if a keyword is popular, then a keyword is popular. Something that changed for HR specifically when we realized how much branded traffic is there, we looked at our own branded traffic. And what I realized, for example, is that a lot of people search for how to pronounce hrefs, and we don't have content about it. So I did kind of even like a small marketing campaign out of it. I asked my LinkedIn followers to send me videos how they pronounce hrefs in different countries. We made that into a funny video. And now when you search in Google for how to pronounce hrefs, our article ranks #1 and it has this video of different clients all around the world pronouncing hrefs. So yeah, definitely, I'm not sure how big is your brand and how many people search for branded stuff, but I would definitely prioritize all the branded searches. If people are searching for something that includes your brand, you have to make sure that you address this, because I have no idea how we never addressed the fact that people don't know how to pronounce our brand name.
I love it, but it's using it as that discoverability, and I hope throughout this sort of 55 minutes or so, this message is coming across so loud and clear, which is that SEO is not viewed in a silo. I love the fact that you've used a keyword tool to find out this stuff, but then you've incorporated the elements of the social and stuff like that. And like, if there's one thing that folks can take away from today, which I feel like both of you have been saying throughout, is like not thinking of it like pure SEO. Like it's got to be everything. It's got to be everything. And so like I just wanted to pick that up and re-emphasize it, probably for the 50th time this webinar, but I think it's really, really important. So thank you both. There's a question that comes in on the technical SEO sort of front here from Anne-Marie, which is that Anne-Marie says it used to be that website structure, i.e. a clear hierarchy of tier 1 pages and secondary pages was a fundamental of SEO. Does this kind of stuff, this technical SEO stuff, still remain the case? How are you thinking about that at the moment, Chima?
Yes, I think I already said that I consider technical SEO the fundamentals of a good website, and that is not going to
Right.
change. So if you're thinking about it as something that you build as a foundation, keep doing that. That is still very relevant for helping LLM search engines, even your users, to understand your content and what you do.
Love that. Thank you. Thank you very much. And super concise. So that's really useful. I'm going to read this question from Kai.
Can I answer this as well?
Of course you can, Tim. Go for it.
So I will say a pretty controversial thing, that technical SEO doesn't exist. It's called best practices of developing for web, best practices of web development. I'm not a technical SEO myself. I don't know all those technical tricks. I don't know like schema, canonicals, crawl budget, yada yada yada, and I don't want to know it. I don't develop websites. I want to hire someone who develops the actual website, who knows how databases work, all those things, and who can go and look up, okay, what are the best practices of developing a website that is good for the web? And again, website is like, it's literally has web in the name, website. So when you're developing a freaking website, please make sure that this site is good for the web. So this is all I can say for technical SEO. I don't think it's the job of marketers to do it. I think it's job of web developers. And again, in Ahrefs, we have like site audit tool. There are many other tools that would crawl your website and give you all the technical issues. We're not fixing them. We're the middleman between developers and these kinds of tools. So have developers use this tool. Like technical SEO is for developers. This is my stance on it.
Love that. You're getting a lot of love.
Team, you could get cancelled for that.
Yes, yes, I know. Please don't share it anywhere.
He could get cancelled for that if he shares it on LinkedIn. They will absolutely eat him alive.
I love it.
But I
Yeah.
see people like it because there's so much pressure to be kind of technical, to be data driven, all those things. But essentially, 90% of SEOs just pass these things to developers because they don't fix it themselves, because developers don't let them into the code base of the website.
Love it. Yeah, I've got Patrick Stocks. We'll cancel him internally.
Oh, hello, Michelle.
Patrick works for Hrefs for anyone not familiar with
And
that.
he's our technical SEO.
Yeah.
He's like best in the world technical SEO.
I want to finish on this question from Kai because I think it might be a really lovely way to summarize the whole webinar. And I'm going to come to you first, Chima, on this. So Kai says, we think about SEO in terms of humans and what a real person is looking for. When more and more people start to use AI or ChatGPT to do the searching for us, does that change about how we go about being found? To target an AI searching for us rather than the real person. Now, the reason why I wanted to ask this question to you is I think it summarizes the webinar quite well, in the sense that I feel like quite strongly that from both of you for this hour, you've been encouraging us to step away from the tricks and the tactics and start getting to the humanity and everything about building a great marketing brand. But that would be my reflection, but I don't know whether you have anything additional as we head into what is a change for the SEO industry, for sure.
Yeah. If you're even talking about optimizing for AIs, targeting AIs, you already have a problem, isn't it? Why are you trying to target AIs? It's still part of that indoctrination I was talking about, where we are we're kind of conditioned to optimize for something. But if you look at it, it's never actually optimizing for humans. So that's the mindset shift, and it's a big mindset shift because many of us learned SEO, learned content from the lens of what does Google want. So even now, when I talk to people about, I think we need to move away from that. They keep saying no, but keyword volume is important, but this is important, but that is important. Nobody ever talks about, but what does the user need? So to the person who's asking these questions, prioritize your end user. That is how I always create content. If somebody brings a pitch idea for a blog post on Moz, I always ask myself, how does this help the user get to a finish line? How does it help them solve a problem? How is it going to be useful for them? If the answer is not relevant, not useful, then I don't create that content. There has to be a tie-in for the end user. And sometimes that isn't even related to our product. But if it is a problem that our ideal audience is going to face, I would still create that content. So rather than trying to optimize for AI, why don't you think about building a workflow that explains all the problems that your audience is facing right now and that they could potentially face, and then create content to solve that?
Hang on. Thank you. Thank you very much. Tim, do you have
I
anything
don't
to
have
add?
anything meaningful to add to this. I just
Wicked.
agree.
That's perfect. What a fabulous time. There's so much praise coming in from the community for the two of you. I think folks have really loved your chemistry as well, and everything you've brought into today's session. So thank you so much. And thank you everyone in the community for tuning in this morning and just being absolutely fabulous. What a just lovely time spent with good people. So thank you very much indeed. We'll be back next week with another fantastic session. So we hope you'll join us next Tuesday. There are so many love hearts coming on this screen right now, which is just brilliant to see.
I love
Please,
your community, George. Like, it's
Honestly,
community like no other. It's crazy. It's crazy. Thank you, guys. Guys
Well,
and
bless you.
girls, sorry.
Bless you.
Look at Tim trying to be inclusive.
I'm Ukrainian, so I'm a caveman. You have to keep that in mind.
I love it. Thank you, thank you. Please do connect with Tim and Chima after today, and please do also say a big thank you to our sponsors, if that's one thing that I can ask, because that means that we can keep on bringing this community to you. With all that said, have a fantastic day, everyone, and we will see you next week. Take care, everyone. See you
Bye.
soon.